Okay. Good evening, everyone. I was just trying to figure out how to start the recorder on the server. Okay, so I will project the agenda. So the agenda is as below. I'll just go over the course overview, very high-level course overview, and show you what the assignments are.
Prasanna, this is Christiane. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think I'm not seeing your screen yet. I don't know if others are, but could you just double check and make sure you're sharing? There it is. Great, thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks. So I'll do a high-level course overview, some assignments, what they are, how they are, and a SQL overview. I'm not sure how many of you are well-versed in this. This will be in high 30 minutes quick overview, what is needed for this course. Then I will ask Deepa to go over the tools on the virtual desktop application, which will be a demo of what to execute, how to connect the virtual desktop. And after we finish all this, if there are some questions, we will take and we will respond. Along with me, I have the teaching assistants from both the sections. Deepa is for Professor Carey's class, and Christiane is my TA for my class. A quick background of myself. I've been teaching for 14 years at UMUC, and I started as a TA, then I started teaching, and I'm working as a senior director for a large healthcare in eastern part of North Carolina. We are in the direct path of the Hurricane Florence, and hope it won't be a big impact. We'll wait and see what and how things are going to go. They are predicting a rainfall of 25 inches along with 140 miles per hour wind speed. No idea what it is. So we'll see, hope for the best. Now, coming back, let me go back to the class and show you. If you go into the syllabus, it's very clearly outlined. The way the class is structured is all the sections will be the same, and it will be moving at the same pace as the other section, and the assignments and the grading rubrics, everything has been clearly outlined and with less ambiguity out. I would say not even there will be any questions you need to ask. If you read the instructions for each of the assignments, it has been totally taken care with very, very clear indication and what is expected, how are you going to be graded. Everything is very clearly outlined. If you follow them, you'll be all set. Number two, the class starts on Monday, 12:01, ends at 11:59 on Sunday. All are in Eastern Standard Time. Then please work with your professor and your teaching assistant or the faculty assistant, and we are here to help you and make you successful. So we will provide you the guidance as close as possible in order to make you think and make you work. And the faculty assistants are here to provide you guidance, not to do your homework or assignments. Please keep that in mind. Then faculty assistants are equally competent, and they have been working in the industry for quite a while, and meaning they are well versed in what they are and how things are happening, and also they are very talented individuals, which the reason to be the faculty assistants for the course. So please take the help. Do not wait until the last minute for the assignments and ask questions. It will be a challenge for everyone. So I would suggest starting to look at the assignment on Monday and make notes and ask the questions on Monday, so that if there is a delay, either me or the faculty assistant would get back to you by Tuesday so that you could work on it. Don't wait until Saturday to ask the questions. Then each of the faculty assistants, based upon their availability, they publish their availability on the chat. So you can chat with them, make sure you get the help what you need. In spite of that, you can reach me, whatever is needed. I'll be more than happy to help you, guide you, and make you clear on the things which you are not getting it. If at all, if there is a need, we'll have a WebEx to explain the concepts. Most probably that may not be needed. Many of the things we have recorded and we have assigned under specific areas of the course content. So there will not be a need for it. Okay, the course is structured in a way. For the first 5 to 6 weeks, you will be working on SQL, meaning the extraction of the data and manipulating of the data is how you will be taught. After you are familiar with the basic understanding of the data, you will be modeling the data using Tableau tool. Tableau is a visualization tool where you could use in order to use it as a decision support system. It's a very prominent software and many of the industries use Tableau. So once we move from Tableau during the week of 8, then beyond 8, you'll be using Python programming. Then the last couple of weeks is a compilation of what you have learned in the program. Using all these technologies, you will be preparing a presentation. That will be your last assignment. So always read through the assignment document. It has a very step-by-step instruction. There won't be anything you will not understand. So if you are not clear on specific areas, please ask the question. First, I would suggest you to post the questions in the areas where you the questions area for the professor or the faculty assistant. Both of us will be monitoring and we will respond to that as soon as possible. As soon as we look into that, we will definitely respond. Give the 24 hours time. If we fail, please send us an email. If you are communicating to the faculty assistant, always copy the faculty so that one of us would get back to you as quickly as possible. In case of an emergency, you can reach me on my cell phone, which I have published in the class, but do not use that for seeking an extension of your assignments. That is not what the reason for providing. This is mainly if you have some issues or some family emergencies where you have to reach me to get a real extension, please feel free, okay? So those are the basic understanding. So the assignments are gradually, it will speed up. Please catch up by week 1. Week 2 onwards, the class course goes very, very fast. And it is too many activities are there. Lot of reading is there. And anywhere between 15 to 20 hours of your time is needed for the course. Okay. Please plan it well. Excuse me? Somebody had a question. So hold on with your questions, and I will pause at regular intervals, and I will take your questions. If there is something, you can put it in the chat window. I will not be able to see the chat window, but definitely I'll get your questions answered. So these are the assignments in the syllabus. If you go to the syllabus and if you look at the grading information, it is clearly indicated. Then every week, you can see the assignment. So you post all your questions in the questions area for me as well as the okay. So the assignments are here. The assignments are very clear and very easy to understand. And as the assignments progress, there will be a Microsoft Word document which clearly outlines what you have to do. Then what is the file name, you have to name it, and then you have to upload the assignment into your assignment folder. The reason for the specific file name is when we download, all the files download into one chunk. Then it will be difficult for me to segregate for grading purposes. So follow the naming convention when you upload the assignments. So these are the high-level course objectives. Please understand, we will be taking you to a path of data visualization programs. All the fundamentals are given to you. You can understand, learn, and become a master. In the span of 12 weeks, you are getting your foundations pretty strong. It is for you to practice. It is for you to look online. It is for you to get more resources and keep practicing to make really perfect and professional in the areas that you would like. And for the students who are really interested in this career, this is a booming currently. I work for a large healthcare. We recently opened our data analytics department, and we are looking for talented individuals. We do not use Tableau, but we use Python and business object programming for our reporting needs. We are mainly looking into the population health specialists. So that is what I'm trying to tell you is there is scope, but you need to perfect yourselves because you're learning a lot of fundamentals. Then apart from this, if you get to understand the connected programming, like some of the core technologies like Java or those are the things which tie together to become a data analyst or data scientist. Those kind of jobs are possible to look for. Okay? So that's a quick overview of the course and assignments. I'll pause and I'll take any questions you have.
There were no questions. The only thing we noticed was the audio was in and out for a few seconds. But you seem to be okay now.
Okay, sure. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So what I was thinking is, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with SQL, and SQL, I'm not going to go the DBST 651 in full, but I'm planning to give you some overview of what we need. So basically, when you're looking at SQL, you will be looking at some of the core concepts of SQL. So first, we need to understand what are the data types. So the data types which are more crucial for this program are two types, which is three types: character or varchar, then number two, numeric, and number three, the date format. These are the three things which you need to be familiar for the data types. Okay. Okay. So the number will only, if you assign a column as a number, you can only input number values into that column. And if you assign in character, it can take a combination of numbers and character. Then there's a difference in when you take varchar type of column type. So here, it's only the designated or the whatever you store. For instance, when you say character size of 50, though your column you're storing 10 characters, still it will occupy 50 characters inside the database level. But if you store in a varchar type of character, it will take the size of the value of the column that you're storing. So that is the difference between character and variable character types. But both has pros and cons. It all depends on your architect or how you design your solution. But you can, either way is fine. You can take either a char or a character. Then the other important column type we'll be discussing is the date. So normally you will be using DD, MON, YYY. So this again, it all depends upon the native date format.
New message. Hey, just return your call back. I was in a conversation with one of my clients.
Hey folks, this is Christiane. Just want to remind everybody, if you we're getting some background noise, so if you want to mute yourself, bring up the participants list, look for your name, and then click the white area to the right so that you can mute your sound. Thank you.
Okay. The date.
We're hearing one person's voicemail right now. Sorry.
Yeah. I think we muted everyone. I think. Strickland and Zibi. Okay. I can mute the other person. Okay. Okay. Either way, it's a disturbing for others, and also I will lose my continuity. Okay. The date type. The date column depends upon how the database administrator sets. It's also country format takes into play. So for us, let's consider DD, MON, YYYY format when you're inserting the date. So these are the SQL data types commonly that you will be using in order to complete the coursework for this particular course. See, this is a fundamental. So now, after you know this, you have to research using the guides and online materials, what are the other data types so that you could become familiar and strong. Then, before going to SQL, there is three types of SQLs, what we call DDL, DML, and DCL. So DDL means data definition language. Data definition language is required when you are constructing some structures. So for instance, when you're creating a table, we use data definition language. At the same time, after you create the table, if you want to insert values into that specific table, you will use data manipulation language. So data manipulation language are mainly to do inserts, updates, deletes. Okay, so here is create. Okay, then data control language is mainly for administration purposes. So that we will not be looking in this course. That's a course on its own. So we will not worry about that. Meaning, when you create a user, you want to assign privileges, you want to revoke, those kind of things are done using data control language. So these are the three types of SQL types which are common in the industry. So let's get into the concepts for SQL. There are two things you need to understand, which is called okay. There are two types of constraints you need here. Okay. One is entity integrity and second is the referential integrity. These are the two things you need to understand before you get into the tables and column creation and other aspects. For instance, what is entity integrity? When you create a table is called as an entity in the language. So when you create a table, the table has to hold the integrity of the data in the specific table. So how you construct and how you enforce the integrity on the table is called as entity integrity. So how will you enforce entity integrity is by enforcing keys. And what type of a keys is primary keys, okay? When you create a strong primary key on the table, it enforces integrity of the table by allowing not duplication of data. So that is key and that is important. What do you mean by that? For instance, if you have two columns for employee ID and name, okay? And for instance, we don't have a key. Key means it will not allow duplicate values. For instance, when we say 001, and I can say is the employee ID for so if there are no keys, you can insert duplicate values. So I'm assigning the same employee number for both the staff. So this will cause losing the integrity. For instance, if I want to delete Deepa out of this table, delete employee ID 001. It will delete both the rows, but my target was only Deepa. But the way the data is here, it is correct because you're allowing. So for instance, if you make employee ID as the primary key, I'll show you how we can create the primary keys. Once it is created primary key, you will in the constraints or the software will not allow you to duplicate the primary keys. So you need to first understand what is important in the table. For instance, you cannot make name as primary key. So there could be multiple Marys, there could be multiple Johns, there could be multiple Deepas. So if you make name as a primary key, you will not be able to insert the same name of the student. So you have to be careful what you select the columns, which column you identify for making it to be primary. Normally a numeric column is better to be a primary key. Okay. Now, what is referential integrity? Referential integrity means when you connect one table with another table, then you join them with a foreign key concept. So once you join the foreign key, and when you're inserting values in the connected table, it would go and validate against the primary table whether the value is existing or not. For instance, let's say enrollment. Okay, there's a table called here enrollment. Well, let's say in this table, there is a field called course ID, description, and let's change for this for a minute as student ID. Okay. Okay. Now we have two tables. One is a student table here, and second table is called as an enrollment table. Okay. Now, when we are inserting rows into the enrollment table, now let us assume the enrollment table is connected to the student table by means of a primary key value. So when you insert rows into the enrollment table, for instance, when I say I want to insert this following row, okay, 002. So course ID is 002 and the description is data analytics is the program, and so here the course ID is 002 and the course description is data analytics and the student is 002. When you insert rows like this, here 002 student is not available in the student. So it will say violation of referential integrity on this table. So it will not allow you to insert invalid data into your tables. So the referential integrity controls the values of the tables and keeps the data clean and perfect. That is called as referential integrity on the tables you create. So these two concepts are very important for you to understand for this program. Then the next concept, what we go from here is the normalization. We will not go with the normalization, but there is some data and there are some recordings that have been provided. Get familiar with the normalization. We will not ask you to normalize any given set of tables. That is purely a different course. Here, if you understand the entity integrity and referential integrity and how the keys are important and how you connect them to these core tables, then it will solve your purpose for this course. So once you are familiar with this, then understand normalization. Then go with data cleansing. Then go and use other higher concepts. But this will be more than sufficient for you to manipulate the data and extract the data so that you could do your visualization and other in the later parts of the course. Okay? How are you guys so far? Any questions so far?
Hello, my name is Zabiba. Are you our teacher?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I do not know which section you are. I am teaching one of the sections.
What do you mean by which section?
There are two sections, 9040 and 9041. I teach section 9041.
Oh, I have no idea. I registered, I received an email, I joined the WebEx, but I don't know. I didn't check that one. Who I do verify that with?
What is your name again?
Zabiba Jibril.
Christian, is she in our class?
I'm checking right now. I'll let you know in a second.
If you go to the course homepage, it will show your section number at the top.
Yes. Okay. I will check that right now. I can do that while we are, and then I will find out. So you repeat that again?
You're in my class, I think. Here it is. I think I saw you. Here it is. Jibril Zabiba, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're in my class. Okay, my section.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for answering that. So are we gonna have this classes like every week, or how often do we have the webcast?
Webcast will be not every week. You will have 2 or 3 during the course of this program. This is mainly because this is very challenging concepts, and because the course is going very fast because we only have 12 weeks. So we have to move faster, which is the reason some of you are coming with an programming background, some are not, which is the reason to make sure you all understand the core concepts for the first 6 weeks. Then after we progress around 5th or 6th week, you will have a second webcast, which will illustrate the Tableau and Python. A high-level overview of those tools also will be shown.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Every table must have a primary key defined. I will say yes. If not, you will lose the integrity of the table and the data would be corrupted.
Are we defining tables or using tables that you've defined?
No, we will define. We will show you how to define and everything. Deepa will show. Okay. Could you please define referential integrity? Okay. So referential integrity, I will give you an example again. And when Deepa illustrates with an use of an ER diagram, she will give you. I will be there and she will walk you through how you connect. For instance, you are a developer and you are given a requirement that you want to create a database for storing student information and for storing enrollment information. Please create a database to store this information. That is the first requirement. Second requirement is we can store student data who are enrolled and who are prospective students. Then the third requirement is a student can take 0 or more courses. So there are 3 requirements that are given to you from your business analyst for creating a database. So when you look into this, you are having 2 things to do. One is you have to store student information Then you also need to store their enrollment information. I'm simplifying this. In the industry, it will be very complicated. I'm simplifying in order to make you understand the core concept. Okay, so let's say this is the student table. Okay, the student table, they say we only need student ID and student name. Then for the enrollment table, we want the course number, the course description, and which student is taking that specific course. So this is how you structure the table. Now, after you structure the table, you need to understand how to connect. So the student ID from the student table will become the foreign key. So that is how you establish the connection. So when you establish this connection, this foreign key is connected to the primary key in this table. Okay, so the tables which have foreign key, assume they are child tables. Okay, the tables which do not have foreign key, assume they are parent tables. So why I'm giving this ease of understanding, the parent should be in existence first in order to have a child to be existent. So this, you have to first insert rows into your parent table, which is the student table. Assume I am inserting rows here. Okay, so first row I am inserting for Lenny. Second row I am inserting for, okay. Okay, so this is what this will be allowed because we are making student ID as primary key, meaning you cannot duplicate the IDs. Okay, after you finish this, we have to see what are they taking. So now 002 is a data analytics program, and this course is enrolled by 002. Who is 002? Zebiba. Okay. So when you do an insert, the database, the controls will go and see whether this is valid. What it will check? It will only check on the foreign keys. What is the foreign key? Student ID. So student ID, we are inserting 002. So it will go and check if 002 is valid in the student table. We will show you how the connections or the technical definition language is created when we do the referential integrity. It will be clear for you. Okay, so in simple what it says, I'm inserting this 002. 002 is a foreign key in this enrollment table, and the course ID is the primary key. So when you're doing an insert, it will, what is this 002? It is a foreign key coming from the student table, and the column name is student ID. So it will take this 002 and go and look into the student table. Oh yes, 002 is there. So it's a valid data and it's a valid row. I will allow it to insert. So it will say valid, and then it will say row inserted or one row inserted, something like that. So you will not get an error. So this kind of validation or error checking is called as referential integrity concept when you're connecting two tables. Is it clear?
Yes.
So, okay. Any other questions before we move on? Please do not hesitate. See, we are here to help you. We are here to make you successful. Okay, and take advantage of both the professor and the faculty assistant. We are making, but don't take undue advantage of not doing your work, not reading, and then on Saturday night or Sunday afternoon you ask the question for Sunday night. It's not fair. You have to read the material, read the lot of reading is there, lot of videos and a lot of illustrations are there. Get familiar and we learn more and make all advantages of us by understanding the content, ask the questions. We are here to help you. Okay, and the faculty assistants also offer you the class hours during the. You can take advantage from them also. Don't wait until. Okay, so this covers the core concepts. With these concepts, I will pass on to Deepa. What Deepa will show you is she will connect to the virtual desktop. She will take you from the beginning to end, how you have to connect to the virtual desktop. Then after connecting, there are simple things you have to do. Then you have to log into the SQL developer and then do the commands. Then for the assignments, you have to take screenshots because to make sure you have done the assignment the way it is needed. So how to take the screenshot, then how to upload the assignment. All this she will walk you through a simple example. Let's see, and I will also be on mute. If you have questions, either me or Deepa or Christian, we will help in order to clarify. But please don't hold back. Asking questions is needed. You need to understand at the end of this. Okay? Deepa, I'll pass on the...
Okay, sure. Okay. Okay, so hey everybody, good evening. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let me log into the virtual desktop environment. So by this time, I think you've heard enough in your classes that you need to log into the virtual desktop and you need to make sure that your tools are all available to you. There have been at least 4 tickets that have been raised in one section of the class because either the tools aren't available or the workspace isn't set up right. So I would say please, if you haven't logged in, take a minute, log into your virtual desktop environment. Everything you need for this class has already been installed here. And this may be one place to go to do all your assignments. So it's important that you check and make sure everything works. So this is, let me go full screen here. This is your virtual workspace. And so this is kind of a Windows environment. If you look, there's 3 tools you need to look for. For the first 6 weeks, you will need MySQL Workbench to run your SQL queries. If you prefer, there is ER Assistant. ER Assistant is a tool that you'll use to create ER diagrams. And then if you would like to take screenshots, there is Greenshot. Greenshot is a tool that we use to take screenshots. I'll walk you through how to use Greenshot and take screenshots. Apart from that, I think we have Notepad++. So some people have asked in the past about how to save their scripts. So you can use plain Notepad to write your SQL scripts, but you have to save them with .sql extension. So they become SQL files, and then you can use those SQL files in Workbench and run them and run your SQL queries. So I'll walk through that process as well. So what I've done here on my desktop is added shortcuts. This is a neat trick for you to save time. So let me first show you. So before you begin anything, first thing you need to do is go and double click on this lab notes, UMUC lab notes environment first. This will take a few seconds to load, as you can see. And so if you open up the node, so right now I have a node that's already set up, but it's it's as simple as coming into this nodes environment and clicking on allocate lab. What this does is it provides you an IP address. You'll use this IP address in turn to connect to MySQL Workbench. And MySQL Workbench is the tool you'll be using to connect to databases and run your SQL queries. So let me walk you through that process. So right now I have an IP address allocated. Click on this to copy this to clipboard and start up your MySQL Workbench. And please note that there is an expire date. So this IP address will expire on the 19th for me. So on 20th, I need to reconnect the lab and get a new IP address. So be aware that if you have troubles logging in, check this expiration date and make sure you're always inside the expiration date. So once you have the IP address, you'll come into MySQL Workbench, click on Edit Connection, copy paste your IP address here, enter your password,
That password is available in the assignments, by the way.
yeah. And so now, a successful connection would look like this. It says successfully made MySQL connection. You click on OK, and then you can close it. And then if you click on this, it's going to open up your MySQL Workbench. So this is the tool you'll be using to run all your SQL queries. This has a Windows style menu. So you can pull up existing scripts, you can create new scripts, and you can, when you click on this lightning bolt here, your script will execute and it will show you an output. I'll come to this in a few seconds, but before you come here, the first assignment you will be doing next week is to create ER diagrams. So let me walk you through ER Assistant. There are several tools in the market today that can be used to create ER diagrams. This is a free version, and this is mostly for academic institutions. So you won't find much flexibility that you'll find in SQL Developer or any other tool that you may use. So for these assignments, you're not expected to strictly stick with ER Assistant. You can use any tool of your choice as long as your ER diagrams look valid to us. Anything will be accepted as an assignment. So we were talking about referential integrities and entity relationships. So I'm probably going to use the word entity and table interchangeably. They mean the same thing. Let's say I have a business requirement that I have to create a database that holds student phone numbers. So I have a student can have several types of phone numbers. They can have a home phone, they can have a cell phone, they can have another emergency contact phone numbers. So my requirement is to make sure that I capture the cell phone numbers from students and save them in the database. So for this purpose, I need more than one. I need a student table and I need a phone number table. So let's start defining that. So if you look at the menu here, if you just hover over the icons, it'll tell you what each of this menu item does. So first, for my requirement, I need an entity or I need a table. So let me start by creating the table names. So for this exercise, I need a student table. And then I need a phone number table. So now I've created my tables. These are my blank tables at this point. So now we talked about a parent table and a child table in an entity relationship. So for our context, the student table is primary table because the phone number cannot exist. You cannot have a phone number table in silo by itself. It has to have at least one student ID inside it. So let's start with the primary table and let's define some attributes. So every table will have a primary key. So in our case, student ID is the primary key. And then you can have some other defining columns like first name, last name. That should be it for now. So, and then let's look at phone number. So let's define a few attributes for phone number. So we'll define another primary key for this table, and then is it a home phone? Is it a cell phone? Is it another other type phone? You can define as many attributes as you wish or as the requirement states. So requirements are very important. You need to go by the requirement. My requirement says I have a student table and I have a phone number, and I need to make sure that every student has at least one phone number recorded. So once I have created the two tables, now I need to kind of put them in a relationship. So the student table has to be related to the phone number table. So earlier we talked about parent-child. So if student is our parent table, then our phone number table should have at least one student ID, so we can define a relationship between student and phone number. So this tool is not smart to kind of create the foreign keys, so you will have to manually define foreign keys. So in our context, let's say we have to create one foreign key called student ID. So by defining this, all I'm doing is creating a connection between student and phone number tables. So there you go. Now I have two tables, and this is my primary, and this is my parent table, and this is my child table. Now I need to show a relationship between student and phone number. For that, I can click on the relationship link here, and then usually a relationship is always defined as a verb, so it's some sort of action. So a student has a phone number. So now I've created the name, the verb. Now let me pick entity student and entity phone number. So, and then need to define the relationship. So every student should have at least one or two phone numbers. Let me close this out, and then I'll explain in a little more detail. Okay, so what I did here is I defined a relationship. I defined a relationship to say that a student can have one or more phone numbers. So this is called a crowfoot notation. You see where there's a single line and then there's like a tripod coming out of that. This kind of a notation is called a crowfoot notation. Crow's foot is usually used to define relationships between two tables. So now you can see, if you kind of read this aloud, starting from the parent table, we are saying a student should have one or many phone numbers at any point. A phone number at any point should be associated to just one student. So it has to be unique. So we can't have the same phone number for more than one student. This is what, and you can always check to see if your ER diagrams are correct by clicking on this check mark to see if you get any consistency or completeness errors. Usually that'll tell you if there's anything wrong with your ER diagram. Okay.
If you try to instantiate a student when both tables are empty, won't you need a phone number?
I'm sorry, repeat your question.
Can you instantiate the student table before you instantiate the rep? Can you instantiate a student before you instantiate phone number?
No. You should always create the parent table first. So yes, you will always have to instantiate the student table before you do the phone number. Because you cannot insert into phone number, you can't insert a null for student ID.
Right, but the student requires a phone number.
Correct, but the student table is independent. It doesn't have a phone number inside the student table, right?
Okay.
No, if you're clear, I said right. You should just think like a parent and a child. So the parent has to be created. In this example, the student has to be created first. For that student, we are storing the phone number in the phone number table.
Okay, so the one or more phone numbers per student is not enforced by SQL?
It is enforced by SQL.
It is. The ID, you may be confused with ID and student ID. That the ID column is specific to phone number table, and that's going to be unique. But just the phone numbers, you can have more than one.
Can you have a student with 0 phone numbers?
This design doesn't allow. That's a good question. This design, because I'm saying mandatory one or several, but if I change this to optional, now this design will allow me to have 0 phone numbers. But since my requirement said every student should have at least one or more phone numbers, I had to make it mandatory.
Okay. I'm just concerned about the state of the database after you've instantiated a student, but before you've created any phone numbers.
Where is the confusion? Because the student table has no phone numbers. Maybe if I show you my SQL script, it may be clearer. So after you've created this, the next step is to create your tables and insert rows. So this goes back to the DDL and the DML part of the class that we were looking at. Let me show you. I have a sample that I've already written up, and so this may help you. So there's 2 tables. I'm creating 2 tables. One is called the student table. So as you can see, I'm creating a student ID, a first name, a last name, and I'm defining a primary key for student ID. So as you can see, there is no references at all to any phone numbers at this point. You should be able to insert without any problems. And now after I create the student, I create the phone number tables where I have ID, which is the primary key, home phone, cell phone, and then I'm adding student ID into this table. And then I'm defining a foreign key constraint. So I'm saying this foreign key student comes from student table. So if you look at, so these are, below are some insert statements. So you'll see how all I'm doing is inserting student ID, first name, last name, and then into the phone numbers, I'm adding ID and then phone number, and then at the end, you'll see a student ID. So let me run the script and then show you what happens at the end of the script. Does that help clarify, or are you still confused?
I believe that your table creation is not thoroughly consistent with your entity relationship diagram. That's okay. Just because it is possible to stop your script before you run the last line. But
no, I'm gonna run it as a whole and see if it fails anywhere.
But I'm off on a tangent now, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. So so you'll see we created a new database called demo using this create database statement, and then we created 2 tables in here. We created a phone number and a student table. This is our primary table, and we have student ID, first name, last name columns. We have a phone number table with columns ID, home phone, cell phone, and student ID tables. So we can run a quick query, or we can just right click and see if it will let us. So these are the 3 rows I had inserted for student table. And these are the 3 rows I had inserted for phone number table. So you'll see that the student ID is the primary table, and phone number was the child table. Sorry, this is the parent table, and phone number was the child table. Dr. Mentor, are we supposed to go over SQL table joins at this point?
I would show one joins.
Okay.
I think somebody's phone is not muted. There's a lot of background noise. Can you please?
Maybe. I'm sorry. Okay, is it any better? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So let's go to table joins. So sometimes in real world scenarios, all the data you want may not be present in the same table. You will have to join 2 tables to find the required data. So let's say you had to create a report that says, show me the first name and last name of all students who have a home phone number. How would you do it? Because you only have first and last name in one table, and then you have a home phone in the second table. So to do that, you'll have to join student and phone number tables. And in order to join 2 tables, your key is the student ID table. As you can see, student ID exists both in phone number and in student table. So you can use this key to join both tables. So in order to join 2 tables, here's what you need. You will need to define the columns you need first. So select A dot first name. Okay. So all I did here was to pick 2 columns from student table and 1 column from phone number table. So all I did here was to define the column names, and then I said from which table. So I want from student table, and I want to join it on phone number table, and the column I'm joining is student ID table. So if you have more than one table, you can do three table joins and 4 table joins and so on. So and if you join 3 tables, you will have 2 join statements. Any questions? Any questions, guys?
Yeah, I have one question. So,
Sure.
like, when we submit assignments, like, does it look, because we submit screenshots, right? So does it look, or also do you access the folders or to, I don't know how you're going to view from your side, but does it have to look exactly the same? Because sometimes it doesn't. Like the results table may not be, like when I do the screenshot, it may not look exactly like it's supposed to be.
Can you give me some example? Like,
for example, the output you see here, the output may not show on the screenshot. I had that in the past, I think. Like, it may not exactly show what I want to show.
Okay,
the whole result.
And that's fine. I think as long as you can take more than one screenshot, that's allowed, and you can just put the two screenshots side by side.
Oh, you can do that, even though in the instruction, when you turn in, you can add like additional. Okay.
You can. And one neat thing about this screenshot tool is, if I can find it, just a second.
Yeah, it's in the tutorial. All three kind of shots are available. So
So
there's a tutorial about that.
So you can either capture a region, you can capture window, or you can capture full screen. So if you do capture region, you'll see these crosshairs come up, and then you just point to how much ever you want. Yeah.
Oh, so you can add more regions to it.
There you go. And then you copy this to clipboard and then open up a Word file. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you reminded me that I meant to show this too. And then you can just paste it in here, and that's your screenshot.
Okay. Also, one more thing, like if we're stuck on the problem, I know there's tutorials available. So is there someone available on standby, or we go through the process of like submitting the ticket getting like, go through the channel?
What sort of question is it? Is it that you're having lab issues, or is it you need help with your assignments? What sort of question?
Even a lab issue might take longer. That could be an issue. But right now I'm more talking about, like, I'm solving this problem and I know how to solve it. But like sometimes it's just like you get stuck on one problem. If it's like at work, you have team.
Right.
But like here, how do I pass that? Like, is there someone who will be there to? Yeah.
Yeah. So like Dr. Menta was saying, you have your faculty and you also have your faculty assistant. You can reach out to them and say, you can explain the problem you're facing. You can tell them what you did to figure it out yourself. And also the faculty assistant will be able to help you out. If it's a big assignment, so week 3, week 6, you're going to work on 200-point assignments, which are fairly big, and you're expected to put a lot of effort into it. So we won't be able to help you we won't be able to give you the answers, but we can give you other examples that you can follow. But you can always reach out to the faculty or faculty assistants for help. So
okay.
Think of us as your team.
Oh, it's like as a team. Okay, so the faculty assistants are available on the.
You can reach out to them via email.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But first, post your question in the class, and if you still need, you can email them. Okay.
You say you have question in the class. What do you mean by that?
No. Post the question in the class. If you go to the.
So if you look here, there's.
In the discussion. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Question for your professor and essay. Okay. See here, if you post your question here, we'll look and respond. That way it will help the other class members.
Are there any other questions?
For this example, as I don't know if everyone in the class is familiar with the aliasing that you may see in the script here. I don't know, Deepa, if you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah. So what I've done here is, so usually the format is you have to call a column from a table. So if I had to type it all out, I had to say select student dot first name. So I'm saying select first name from table student, select last name from table student, select home phone from table phone number. So instead of writing student dot first name, student dot last name, phone number dot home phone, I'm using a concept called table aliasing. So what I'm doing is, in the context of this SQL code, I'm calling student table as A, and I'm calling phone number table as B. So these are short names for these tables. So I'm able to use these short names and say A dot first name, A dot last name, B dot home phone, and let's say I wanted to add another column, cell phone. So now I can just alias the table name and then call it B dot cell phone, and let's run it one more time. So now that fetches the cell phone numbers as well. So this is just a short form of calling the tables in your SQL script. You don't have to use it. You can use the whole table name, or you can use aliases. Both are acceptable.
I have one more question. So I work on the project, and is there any way, like, is that possible for, I don't know, the student assistant, you said?
Faculty
before assistant. I submit, faculty assistant. Before I submit, is there, like, I don't know if it's possible, can they review my work, or that's not allowed?
No, that's not allowed, unfortunately.
Okay. Because I'm familiar with T-SQL, and it's been a long time for Microsoft T-SQL. So I really I am familiar with it, but at the same time I've been rusty. So it's but I want to be successful also. So
that I understand. There's plenty of resources. There's plenty of practice sites. And you can always ask questions, but it's unfair for you to expect the TA to fix your assignments when everybody else is not doing that.
No, absolutely not fix. Actually, I know that's not even legal, but I want to make sure I don't want to do something drastically not acceptable. So
yeah, you can always ask questions about that. If you're not sure, just ask a question.
Ask question. Okay, I will do that. So this is week 1?
Yeah, I mean, what we've covered will help you until week 6.
Until week 6?
Yeah, but you're in week 1, but the concepts we've covered is good until week 6.
Week 6, so it's intro for all 6 weeks. Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not realize, I didn't get the name of the person who had a question about instantiating tables. Are you still on the call?
I think it's Sarah, I think.
It is Sarah, yeah.
Hey, Sarah, is it still not clear to you?
I'm really picking at details on it. It's not important.
Okay. But I want to make sure it's clear, that I haven't confused you any further.
I assume you'll be satisfied by code equivalent to what you've written.
So, Sarah, the reason why she has written like that, it's mainly for normalization. The reason, for instance, you have 3 phone numbers, right? Home, cell, and work. If you have that phone number in your student table, then you will have 3 rows of in search. that you have to do when you're doing that.
Yes.
So that becomes denormalized. So if you're doing a normalized, you have to group the data so that there's no redundancy. So there will be one row in the student table, and on the other type, we can say 001 is the ID for mobile, 002 for this, 003 for this. That's how you can do and store. These are normally called as in the application what I use, it's an ERP, we call it as a translate values.
My issue is that the ERD said that data integrity fails if there exists a student who does not have a phone number, because it is a one student to 1+ phone numbers. Therefore, after creating a student and before creating a phone number, the database is not consistent with the entity relationship diagram.
Oh, no. The entity relationship diagram is a visual tool.
That's why I asked whether that diagram was being enforced by the database.
No. This is just a visual tool. No.
And that's fine.
This is those tools are there. They definitely act different. This is just an academic tool just for visualization, how the ER diagrams are created and the visual. And you are correct, if those type of tools are there, they would behave differently.
And this is more to serve as a plan to create your tables, to write your script. This doesn't enforce any, this doesn't go out and create any DDL scripts.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
So any other questions, clarity you guys need? We just exceeded beyond the hour, but that's okay. And any feedback you guys like to offer? Is this helpful to do the next webcast? Is it something you want an additional information? Please feel to email. So we'll add more content and extend the duration if you feel this is more helpful. Next webcast is mostly for Tableau and Python illustrations. So it will be similar, and we'll walk you through a couple of examples, how to use Tableau, how to use Python. Okay? Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay? Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good night. Be safe in the storm.
Yeah.